Brody Hubbard, Gene George, Shakeytown Radio. Gene, as of a couple minutes ago, Kamala Harris has called Donald Trump to concede the election. We are going to have another Donnie administration.
I think she could still pull it out.
Just a
Uh,
couple votes at the bottom of one of the burnt boxes. Maybe.
yeah. As someone on one of the social media sites has some wag on there whom I can't think of who said it. If they cheated on the 2020 election and they didn't cheat in this election, they probably should have cheated in this election because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, I mean, no, this is just fucking, it's a nightmare. It's a fucking nightmare. Um, we're white guys. We're probably going to be okay, but
We'll see. I
we'll
mean,
see. Well, I plan on saying things loudly and annoyingly and constantly,
yeah.
and gumming up the works as far as I can within the bounds of legality. So yeah, we'll entirely see. I mean, I'm in California, which is probably going to be okay in the long run. If we seceded, we would take with it a huge chunk of the GDP of the United States, and we could defend ourselves pretty well, I think. But it's that doesn't help. It doesn't help. Um, and we've talked about this before. Best case scenario, cleaning up the mess of the first Trump administration is going to take multiple election cycles and decades, and now it may take generations.
Oh yeah. I
So yeah, so that's where we're at. I mean, it's just there's nothing to fucking. I mean, it's
I
it's awful.
I've never had love for a Republican politician, a Republican administration. That isn't to say that I am a blue no matter who guy. It's not to say I'm a Democratic Party booster. I've been a member of that party before. I'm not currently, but I typically consistently vote Democrat because they have generally represented my interests and those of the people important to me. I was, never going to be a fan of this Trump administration, of the person himself, or Gene. It's almost like what's almost just as bad as because I feel like he's a ticking clock already on his health. Like we could very well in the next 4 years end up with President Hillbilly Elegy.
No, no, no. Oh, no, no. That's the thing is, as I was talking to my wife earlier today, um, the the chances of him popping his cork, having his cork popped for him, or being removed from office by his own cronies because he's insane is super high. I
Yeah.
mean, we're talking about over the course of this 4 year term. I'm going to say 90% chance one of those things is going to happen.
Yeah.
Jon Stewart had a really good thing where he talked about pundits. Pundits are always wrong, but honestly, that's the terror in this new administration
Yeah.
is the depth. Look, nobody can handle him in the first term because he's a nutbag,
Yeah.
and he was a nutbag at the height of his powers. And all of the people who said, "Oh, he's never going to get in," on both sides, "Oh, he's insane," on both sides, then all of the people on the GOP side started being, "Oh no, he's fine. He's just a maverick, and we're all behind him 100%." And then nothing got done because he's insane. Because his demagoguery prevented more damage from happening.
Mm.
But now there's no excuse for the assholes to drop the ball this time. They've got Project 2025. I'm sure his handlers are keeping him on a shorter leash, and his cognitive decline is going to make things fucking worse. But like I said, it's assholes all the way down. because yeah, you get couch fucker or whoever the next in line is going to be. He's going to gut the federal government and replace it with the spoils system. He's going to put brainworm in charge of public health.
Yeah.
It's like noted scientist RFK Jr. Oh wait, no, he's not. He's a scion of a wealthy family who is self-admitted to having brainworms and doesn't know jack shit about jack shit. So it's like deregulation, tax cuts for the rich, all of the stuff that all of the normal kind of horrible stuff is going to be, just the just delightful seasoning on top of the kill all trans people, deport everyone who's ethnic in this country, all of the other bullshit that can and probably will happen to some extent. I mean, the ACLU is locked and loaded. They're going to put, but what's going to happen? What's going to happen when the president's been declared able to do crime? It's like the Supreme Court is aiding and abetting crime.
Yeah,
What are you going to do?
already his convictions, sentencing is going to get pushed to 2029. So
Well, I haven't seen that it's going to be pushed. I saw that it's going to be they're figuring out ways to wind it down,
Mhm.
whatever that means. That's what I've seen, that the DOJ is looking to, air quotes, wind down his prosecutions. So he's not gonna live to see those prosecutions.
Okay.
I honestly think that, or at least, well, maybe, you know what though? Okay, if they remove him from office, then he won't be a sitting president. So maybe he will, but he's a decrepit sack of shit. It's like he's on his way out regardless. I put more money on Jimmy Carter lasting another 4 years.
So what went wrong here, do you think? Because I definitely have some theories. So people are going to say that, or they have already said that the momentum when Waltz was put on the ticket and he was, calling out Trump Vance for being weird, and then he was apparently advised to tone that down.
Right
And
like that.
Harris started, saying things like, oh, I wouldn't change anything that I did during that the Biden administration did. She said that on The View. She kind of poo-pooed pro-Palestinian protesting. I know that was some unfortunate alliteration that just happened. I apologize. Um,
Well, that makes it fun.
yeah, because Lord knows that there's no more
We
fun topic to
we need a
discuss
little.
online than the situation in
We
Gaza.
need we need a little we little need a little more fun. It's also the reason why Pol Pot is alliterative. It's delightful. Um,
Like, basically that they decided to, and with the messaging about like, oh, you're, Republican wives, your husband won't know who you voted for. That basically that they were messaging towards right of center instead of the left base. And so the left base didn't come out to support them. That's the kind of what I'm seeing online. But it's kind of hard to know what is just an echo chamber of online opinion and like what is the reality on the ground. I think the reality on the ground is that we just have a lot of racist, sexist white men who, don't want a black person, a woman, and especially not a black woman as
yeah,
president.
yeah.
Um, and then also, I've seen a lot blamed on our age group, like that we voted primarily Trump. I know you and I certainly did not. Anecdotally, I feel like I've seen a lot of young people online voicing their support for Trump, and then that goes into a whole thing of like, you know, the next generation of little bastards that are coming into voting age, like it's hard to say because everything feels like, a bubble. If you're looking on Twitter or TikTok for voices, then the algorithm's going to serve like what you want to hear. The country's a big old place. It's kind of hard to sort for yourself what's real and what's not.
Well, I think. I mean, I think that I thought going into this that it wouldn't be a landslide for Harris, but I thought it would be better than it would be. I think there are. I don't think we lay the blame at defeat of any particular factor. It's like when I was discussing this with my wife last night as things were going down, it's like the third party votes and stuff like that. It's like it all depends on where those third party votes were. You know, if people are voting for Jill Stein or write in Mickey Mouse or whatever in California, whoop de doo. But if they're doing it in a swing state, it makes it a lot worse. And frankly, the numbers of third party votes that I saw, at least before I went to sleep last night, didn't brought her closer to the disparity from 2020 that Trump had v. Biden. So in other words, you know, it was Biden with like 51% of the vote and Trump with like 49% of the vote. So it's just reversed in this case. Even if you added in, if everyone did their civic duty and, you know, and voted for the person who's not a madman, you know, it wouldn't have made a difference. It would have made a smaller margin. And maybe it would have triggered recounts or things like that, or maybe it would have triggered the AP to not call racist for longer. But still, it's the two things that I have to think about are everyone's like, oh well, it's a sweeping mandate. No, it's not. It's a barely marginal win from not the entire electorate, but from the voting electorate.
Yeah.
So, you know, for whatever reason, whether it was motivation or whether it was whatever it was, it's not a sweeping mandate. We're still divided, and the assholes just won. The problem is the assholes are going to set it up so that it's gerrymandered to favor assholes for the foreseeable future.
Right.
That's the biggest problem that comes out of this. Is this was the one we needed to win, because there may not be one to win later.
And that messaging was out there and still wasn't enough. And so while I feel that, you know, very disappointed, there's people I like am acquainted with online, we'll say, you know, in the music community, the horror community.
I muted a lot of people.
Like I was surprised people like, you know what, I have to vote for Trump this time. It's the issues that are important to me.
The economy.
As if right, that's these guys are going to help.
Yeah.
But like the job of campaigns are to win elections for their candidates. The Harris-Walz campaign failed to do that. And
yes.
So, you know, how you know, I can understand trans folks being mad, like, wow, there's a lot of cis folks who voted who failed us. I can understand women who are,
there's a lot of aggrieved people with
right,
with legit grievances.
Right. You know, but and like, you know, I know that I did my part, but that wasn't enough. And like in the end, the Harris campaign did not convince enough people to come out and vote for Kamala Harris.
See, so I think you can't. I think you can say that from you know, de facto the results. But I think you touched on it earlier. I think the amount of fear and hate in this country motivated a lot of people to vote. And they may have said it's the economy or it's immigration or whatever, but it really is. I responded to someone on Twitter. They posted something, and my first thought is, if I had $1 for every N word, C word, and B word that was said in Trump's America over this election, privately and sometimes publicly, like I would be richer than God. You know, it really is having a black woman in the White House is allowed, I think, a lot of people to vote the way they did. Whether they say it's for the economy, whether they say it's for immigration or whatever nonsense. The other thing too is I was just looking at the AP site and I was looking at the exit poll reasons why people voted the way they did in swing states. And COVID from last election was an enormous 45% of people. It was just basically across the board in every swing state. So it's been long enough, and COVID's over, and everybody's fine, and we no longer have any problems with that. So I think that unifying force of, oh yeah, this guy's a moron who's telling you to drink bleach, and maybe we could figure out a way to inject it. It's like, I think that it's good to say they're weird, and they are weird, but I don't think just softer messaging on weirdness or reaching across the aisle or getting bipartisan, you know, opposition support is going to be the thing. I honestly think it's fear and hatred, and COVID filled that fear and hatred slot on the Democrat side, the Democrats' favor in 2020, and
Yeah.
it wasn't here now.
And how did people not remember that it was the Trump
Because
administration?
it's over. Because COVID's over. The
It's
China virus is over, Brody. The China virus from China. We need to put 1,000% tariffs on stuff from China because they gave us the China virus.
right, right.
That's what people remember. And like I said, fear and ignorance. It's like their golden billionaire god who is none of those things. He's a failed businessman. He's a grifter. He's a con man. He's not a Christian. And all these Christians are like, oh, God saved America, and it's like I said, I think the bubble of fear and ignorance was the driver for, and again, it's a minuscule percentage. It's more than it should be, but it's still 51 to 47 or 52 to 48 or whatever it is. Yeah. So to me, it's won and lost on the margins, and the margin was fear and hatred. And you can break it down however you want, but they brought more people out, and those people voted because, oh, that's where I was going with that. They're ignorant. It's the economy. He knows nothing about the economy. He has proven time and time again by his wanting to meddle with the Federal Reserve, by tariffs. Like, tariffs are going to, but by wanting to deport millions of undocumented workers who are the lifeblood of our economy. Like, he's going to fuck this country up.
Yeah.
Flat out. The economy is going to get shitty and worse for everyone. His billionaire friends are going to lose money. They're not going to not be billionaires, but they're going to, like COVID, they're going to lose, 43% of their value, and now they're only worth, the 8, billion times what the poorest person is in this country. So it's not going to do anything. It's not going to do the things that they want. It's not. It's going to be shitty for everybody. And fuck around and find out. They're going to find out, and we're all going to find out.
Yeah.
That's the part that really drives me fucking crazy. Is you vote for fear and ignorance, and you're going to get what you get.
Yeah.
So.
You mentioned California will be okay. I've been in Arizona for the last several years now. I live in definitely a Trump enclave of the East Valley. It's visible by the flags that are out in my neighborhood.
It's visible from space.
Yeah, but yet Phoenix, which is not too far from where I live, I mean, I can get there, in an hour or so, depending.
Yeah.
Like, Democratic mayor, woman, Democratic governor who's a woman. We just elected a Latino senator, Democrat. So clearly we just constitutionally protected reproductive rights. There's a lot of other Republican authored propositions that failed. Yeah. I don't know about them all yet. Clearly this is not as red a state as it seems on the surface, even if my own part of town is red, but that's just it's the same all around the country. You have these pockets of, it's not even leftist people, it's just not Trump people, not the right.
Yeah.
Um, it's not a vegan coffee house everywhere, but it's like, people
Yeah.
willing to protect rights and willing to um, elect people of color and women and Democrats.
Yeah.
And we saw that in some races, but I think the Senate and the House are divided down the line again, if not
No, I think it's
Republican.
tilting red. It's tilting red.
Yeah. And again, even if it's close to 50-50 on the presidential race, it wasn't close enough to 50 for Kamala Harris. So
Yeah.
it does seem like there is a divide. Um,
There is. Oh no, there's no question. There's a divide.
I can't even blame like Russian interference or mailboxes getting blown up or whatever. Like, that stuff, is definitely inconvenience and it has affected 500 ballots or
Yeah,
so.
it's not. It's a rounding error. It's not even a rounding error.
But to me, it's just like so disheartening that it was, she didn't get trounced, but she failed to win. You know what I mean? Like Trump, I don't think that Trump really succeeded at anything. Like his campaign was very like almost sitcom levels of incompetent.
Yeah, if you
And
scripted that, it would be people would be like, "That doesn't. No, you got to pull this back a little bit."
yeah, it's like if the Paul Rudd character on Parks and Recreation had won.
Yes. No, but that's the thing is he's Trump. I think went to the next level of insane grandpa rambling. Like
Mhm.
it wasn't even like I'm distracted and draw boobies on my yellow pad on my podium. It's he literally is a doddering old man, a crazy doddering old man. It's like he's been president for life for like you know 60 years, like Castro or somebody. You know,
Are you interested in hearing the Harris concession speech at all?
no, because it's pointless. I don't. She's gonna say we have to move forward, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
You know, blah 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 blah.
She is, as we record this, taking the stage at Howard University.
Nice.
Um, Maybe I can do captions to see if anything of note is said. I don't dislike her. I never did
Oh,
but I'm disappointed in, I guess, her campaign. And it's tough. Like I have uh, an old friend who was literally like her name was on the ballot next to Harris's name in my state. Like she was one of the electors. I know people who campaigned for her. I know people who worked on that campaign, and when I say that the campaign failed, I mean that's not to say that the people are themselves are failures or bad people. Um,
no, they
Certainly,
are.
so
According to Trump. According to Trump, they all deserve retribution.
to me, it's
For,
not the people on the ground; it's the people in the war room with
in the sky.
who are controlling the messaging.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Like I know that folks in the state come out from the reservations, from the Latino neighborhoods, from the colleges. They have turned Arizona from red to, we'll say, at least purple. But you know,
But that is. But again, like I'll say it again. That's the thing is, this is a fight between the people that voted,
yeah,
and more idiots voted than people who have enlightened self-interest, whether they think Kamala is the next coming of Christ or not. It was clearly a choice between insanity and not insanity. Or at least the manageable kind of American insanity. The cognitive dissonance that we have to support Israel while you know deprecating their actions. Like you know that's spare change in this, compared to the big thing. So it's but every time one of these yahoos couches this as a sweeping mandate for Trumpism, I am going to be there to say, no, it fucking wasn't. Because it fucking wasn't. And it's like, it's We can't say that they cheated. We can't say that they stole the election, but we can say you are not, you are barely the majority. You are barely the majority. It's like it still means that the good guys lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, good guys in quotes there, but the guys who are less bad than the bad guys.
So what does the Biden-Harris administration do in these last 60 days, if anything? Do they go
Well,
hardening and debt uh, relief streak? Do they um, make any measures to change the formation of the Supreme Court? Like what?
I don't know. So Charles Starr, who is an old AST hand and has podcast and all that other stuff, and is a lawyer type fellow.
Yeah.
Um,
My wife made a puppet of him once for Christmas.
nice.
Finger puppet.
Um, he pointed out that
It was sent to him. I should be clear. It's not like we keep it around and like
I just assumed it was for some weird sex
it's
thing.
for him and his. Oh God. Please continue.
As one does. So he pointed out that you can't have wishful thinking, wish fulfillment. Assume that whatever actions are taken have to be
Especially
unimpeachable, no pun intended, against executive action after, after idiot gets into the White House. And commuting the sentences of all federal death row prisoners. I saw that floated. I'm behind that. I basically would pardon, if it were me, I would pardon or commute the sentences of any federal prisoners. Commute to life sentences, death row. Just get that off the table. And commute or pardon any federal drug crimes. I don't know how many people are in that because I feel like the president has the power to pardon for state crimes too. Yeah. So places like Texas where having a joint and a little baggie of weed got you 25 years in prison, clear the prisons out of all of that shit. Just if you can do it, do that. Commute or pardons for that stuff is what I would like to see. That would be, a little bit debt relief, student debt relief. That's some of that's being challenged in the courts already. Some of that's been struck down in the courts. So I don't know how far you can go. Do whatever you can. Do the stuff that you can do without it being rolled back later. However, that's not to say that dipshit can't come in and fuck things up somehow. Yeah. Because as we know from the Supreme Court decisions, the president can do basically anything. In my heart of hearts, what I want to see is Joe Biden order SEAL Team 6 to do stuff. It's like that, because that would be, to me, that would be the icing on the cake of, oh yeah, the president can do anything as a president and not be prosecuted. Well, there you go. It's like, anyway, but that's wish fulfillment, wishful thinking. Yeah. So yeah, I do what we can. But I think there's not a lot that can be done.
Yeah.
So
we said last time we have about 5 minutes left here. We were going to briefly touch upon the job market, and I, maybe as a symptom of what's going on in the economy, maybe as a reflection of fears that helped get the Trump administration get Trump elected and get his new administration running. The first non-consecutive administration since
Grover Cleveland.
Yep. I don't feel that either candidate was going to help those of us seeking employment find new jobs.
Grover Cleveland certainly wasn't. What with him being dead for 100 years.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but I see it. I have, there's folks close to me who kind of marvel at the fact that and I've had periods of being laid off for nearly a year. And it hasn't been that long this time. It's been a couple months, but it's still longer than I thought would happen this time around. And I've had people close to me like marvel at like, well, why don't you have anything yet? And I'm like, just if you are in a industry like education or law enforcement or um, I mean, there's lots of more stable industries. Uh, I don't think they understand like how bad it is out there. Like I see so many stories like mine and yours on LinkedIn every day. I have, there was like 500 layoffs at oh God, what company was it? Dropbox today. It's just people are losing their jobs, and it's it gets scary. If you're lucky enough to be in a household where there's another income coming in, if your state gives you some sort of unemployment benefits, you can try to stretch things out. But the bigger your family is, the harder that gets, the longer it goes on.
Yeah.
Um, I don't see any administration making a difference in that. You know,
Yeah.
it's just left up to us, the worker, to get more and more clever and persistent and annoying to you know recruiters and things like that to get seen for interviews and stuff. I just feel like there's it's not a job seekers market right now.
No, not at all. Not in the least. I mean, I've been out of work for almost, well, actually, as of today. Today it has been 1 year since I received my notice, and it'll be 2 months from now when I was my actual termination date.
Yeah.
So I've been officially out of work, for 10 months, and laid off for a year. And yeah, it's like I've applied for jobs above my skill set, below my skill set. I've just now, my severance is almost done, and I just applied for unemployment. And it's I just I went to LinkedIn today. I got an email about some tech help desk job with some county public health thing, and I clicked on it, and already has 25 applicants. It's like, and it's about 20 years below my experience level.
Yeah.
Like it's I could do it. I know I could do the job, but pay wise and experience wise, I have 20 years more experience than I need for that gig.
Yeah.
So I'm probably, if I were to hit send on my resume, I will probably get turfed out because I'm too overqualified. So yeah, it sucks, man. It sucks.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't think anyone's going to help this. I think this is a systemic problem. I think having an administration like the Trump administration is not going to fix wealth inequality and the way wealth is treated and managed in this country. Um, you know, I wonder if Biden can unilaterally vote or unilaterally uh, uh, pay for a reparations package. That
Yeah.
would be fucking amazing. That would be fucking amazing. Just give every person who's just descended from enslaved people a $1 million check.
Yeah.
Cash it quick, guys. Cash it quick.
I
That
would
was,
I'd be for that.
yeah, yeah. I just thought of
Yeah, I
that.
like
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know, man. I mean, the fact that everything at this point is going to be, it's like the climate. Everything at this point is going to be trying to shore things up to the point where the fewest people are harmed by the idiocy of the majority, air quotes. That's basically what we have to do. It's going to get worse. It's going to hurt a lot of people, and especially it's going to hurt vulnerable people. And we just have to, give aid and comfort to as many of those vulnerable people as we can. And it sucks when you're a vulnerable person and don't have a fucking job.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the part that's terrible.
Well, as the clock runs down on this episode, the service we will provide vulnerable people is laughter.
Yeah, this was a fucking hoot and a holler.
Right?
This is probably our funniest episode. I'm going to call it.
I don't know what I'm going to title
this
it.
This is one of the golden ones.
Yeah.
This is.
But we agreed. We were going to come out when whatever the result and kind of talk on it. This is all I'm going to say about the election for sure. Except
I still think she could pull it out.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There's a chance.
But we'll keep coming back till they tell us that we can't, and we'll be here. And we may still touch upon some of these topics from time to time, but also other things.
Is I think the only thing we can end this on is God bless the dear leader. I'm proud to be an American. That's all I'm going to do, because I don't want Lee Greenwood to put a copyright strike on this.
Yeah, no, exactly. I don't know, Gene. To be continued for sure.
Civil War. This is why what's his face didn't tell us what the cause of the movie Civil War was, because he was like, you'll see.
You'll see. Captain American Iron Man one, or
yes, no, the Jesse Plemons in Elton John glasses one.
Gotcha. Crocodile Rock to you.
Crocodile Rock to you, my friend.
We'll talk to you next time.
Yes. Goodbye and good luck.
We are back on the YouTube channel. We are back in the podcast feed, and we are also on social media on X and on Instagram at Shakeytown Radio. There's a blue sky as well, so check that out and read up all on the archives at shakeytownradio.com.